Welcome to Reputation Revolution. This is the podcast where we help individuals like you to establish your voice in the marketplace, enhance the credibility of that voice, extend the reach of your story and your message, and finally, extract value from your efforts in building a meaningful personal brand that's both recognized and respected. Now, on with the show.
It takes time, effort, and planning to build a professional personal brand that people know, they trust, and they respect. And sometimes we overthink things. We get stuck inside our own heads when it comes to creating content and using social media to build our profile and our reputation. Now, undoubtedly for many, their view of social media has been shaped by what their peers say, what they read in the media, and their workplace experience will also come into play. And this is where things can go awry. If you're a business owner or a professional expert with years in the trenches and runs on the board, there's a good chance you might want to get things 100% perfect before publishing anything to social media. It's this pursuit of perfection, this overthinking things around content creation that might be holding you back and therefore stunting your PR and personal branding efforts. Social media, from the get-go, from the very early days, has always worked best when it's a bit raw and authentic. This is why live streaming works really, really well. Anything can happen and it will never be perfect. Instagram aside, and that we know where Instagram, there's the perfect influencers who ply their trade with nary a hair out of place. But for the rest of social media, it rewards people who can educate, inspire, and or entertain audiences with their words, and increasingly in a video-first digital world, through their actions. If you tend to overcook things on social media and have not yet broken out of the mindset that something needs to be perfect in order to be professional, then this episode is for you. Today's theme is around experimentation and taking risks on social media. Now, by saying taking risks, I'm not talking about doing anything silly, just letting loose a bit, showing more of your authentic self, trying new platforms, experimenting with new technologies, developing new skills. There are a lot of good things that come with all of this. In the case of today's guest, he gained a lot of confidence in front of the camera. I call it adopting a digital media mindset, because to be really successful with your content on social media today, it's as much about mindset as it is about the words you use. Now, we'll be covering TikTok, YouTube Shorts, turning blog posts into videos using AI. We'll look at content curation on LinkedIn and increasing personal productivity through outsourcing. It's a monster show, folks. But first, Reputation Revolution is brought to you by the Credible Authority Academy. Grow your influence, create more impact. Learn how to become a credible, influential voice in your industry. Go to credibleauthority.com. If you like what we talk about here on the Reputation Revolution, you'll no doubt be interested in what's on offer at Credible Authority Academy. Okay, let's get into the show. My guest today is Ben Cusack. Ben's a 45-year-old government grant specialist and business owner whose TikTok account has generated over 10 million likes with an audience of over 190,000. Ben takes chances on social media. Let's hear his story. G'day, Ben. Welcome to the Reputation Revolution show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me here.
Ben, we're going to cover a lot of territory today because you're doing some really interesting stuff. We initially came in contact because you're on TikTok. But first of all, walk us through your business. You run a business called Bullet Point. Just for context, let listeners know what you're doing so we can then delve into all the other elements.
Cool. So I help startup companies access government grants, mainly the R&D tax incentive. And for those who don't know, that's a rebate you get up to 43.5% for developing new products and services.
Excellent. So that's a very specialized niche and obviously a lot of education involved on the content side of things, which you do a lot of. So we're going to delve into that. But you're clearly building your authority in that space. But we're going to start with TikTok because we're all about personal branding here, and I guess we focus a lot on LinkedIn and maybe a bit on Twitter, and some people use Instagram, but TikTok is a bit of it's a bit out there for a lot of people, and maybe because people think that it's all about dancing teenagers, and that was probably 3 years ago. It really grew exponentially during COVID, and its growth path continues. You're on TikTok, but you're not on professionally. I'm using air quotes there as a government grant specialist, but you're there doing something different. I want you to walk us through, because I'll just set the scene. You've got over 190,000 followers on LinkedIn. There you go. I'm not too much on that, on TikTok. And you've had something like 10.5 million likes of your videos. So walk us through what you're doing on TikTok. And I want to unpack it because there's going to be strands of this that go into personal branding.
So I started about 2 years ago at the start of COVID, like everyone else. We're bored at home. Let's go and play on this app that everyone's watching. And I just started posting things that I thought were funny. So it was just random stuff. And then over the course of a couple of months, I started to niche down. And the niche that I'm in is mountain biking. So most of what I do is mountain biking or mountain biking related content.
Yes. And a lot of, if you're into mountain biking, there is a lot of different content there, and some of it's just you riding and looking at your bike, and then you're doing some funny videos like when you're reacquainted with your bike after it being repaired. And so there's so many things to do with it. How are you finding that? Because I know that we've spoken earlier, and getting in front of camera and doing this sort of stuff was different.
Yeah, so that was a big hurdle to overcome. So prior to starting 2 years ago, I would never be in front of the camera, never felt confident in front of the camera. So the way I got into it, I just started filming everyone else. So with mountain biking, you want to be seen to be good, and doing big jumps or doing great tricks. That wasn't me. So I just started filming everyone else because I didn't feel comfortable doing all that. And then if I didn't make it about me, I made it about everyone else and mountain bike lifestyle. That obviously attracted everyone. And I started, we were in lockdown in Melbourne, and I just started riding around to all these illegal jumps that were being built because you couldn't go outside 5 kilometres. So all these mountain bikers in the middle of Melbourne had nowhere to go. So they started building all these illegal mountain bike jumps. So I would just go to these various locations, talk to the people there that were building it, and then just film some people doing the jumps, and everyone would want to know, where is this? Who are these riders? Tell us about the bikes. And so I just made it about everyone else.
And so now you're very comfortable with being on camera.
So now I'm very comfortable. So that also combined at that time is that I took on an intern for 3 months that would work for me every day. And their specialty was around videos. And so I had to produce or film a video every day to give this intern something to do. So that was professionally, I would be filming these videos off to the intern, go and cut this up, go and put the captions on there and produce it every day. And that also gave me the confidence to be doing videos nonstop, basically unscripted, basically one take. What you see is what you get, and then out the door it goes.
Now, for people who aren't really familiar with TikTok, and I think it's an addictive app, and it's, when we talk in business terms, it's got dwell time. People are staying on the app by far, and it's really what they're really wiping the floor of Instagram and Facebook in terms of video views and dwell time. But I guess the thing is, it is raw. It is what you see is what you get. And that's the beauty of TikTok, isn't it? It's a lot of fun. It's a bit of rawness. And it works across so many different topics.
You're right. So the dwell time is what I find. So I could delete every other social media app. So delete Facebook videos, all that content. Instagram can disappear. YouTube can disappear. TV can disappear. I could just sit on TikTok and be extremely happy. And you can just watch it for hours because you can just, if you don't like it, you swipe and you move on.
Yeah.
There's no having to, wait for the TV ads to, go grab a drink, or, it's a slow bit. You just keep flicking and you just find the content that you love. So the algorithm will find you the stuff that you like to see. And it's incredibly viral. And then the second point you made about the rawness, it's very interesting watching successful content creators that come from Instagram and YouTube, and it's very polished content, and there's great lighting and great backdrops, and they've all got the great audio, they've got the big speakers or the microphones. That does not convey onto TikTok very well. TikTok, they want to see you pick up your phone, bad lighting, average audio, and you're just talking raw to the camera. That's what people love to see.
Yeah, it's a really good point, that one, because it's and it's funny how that was the early days of social media, was that rawness and that genuineness about it, the authenticity. I'm going to use the A word there, authenticity of what you're doing, and then over time with Instagram, it became structured and very very polished, and we have seen this bounce back towards the rawness, which is what people want, and so that that builds. I guess it builds trust. The other thing with TikTok, and you alluded to it then a minute ago, Ben, is that it's discovery. Things go viral on it, but it's people. It's a discovery engine more than anything. It's not. Yes, you can follow people on it and get their content, but it's not like the news feed of Facebook.
You're right. So it serves you the content that you like to see, and what's sort of changed in the last 2 years is that you don't see the people that you follow. You've actually got to go and find the people that you follow.
Right.
You're basically tucked away and never seen again unless your content is very good. So basically, they want to grow everyone up to be have lots of followers, but in order to get the views or the continual views, they need to go and find you.
Right. So if you follow someone and you watch their stuff all the time, those videos will pop up again.
Yeah, so if you interact with it, but if you're just watching it, and there might be people with, let's say 2 million followers, they might be verified. TikTok will not serve that to me unless I really engage with that content, or I go and search for it all the time and it's presented to me.
And that's the thing. It's you might be super popular, but Joe Blow starting from scratch. If it takes, it takes, doesn't it? I mean, is that pure democratization of social media?
I think if you look at it from a TikTok point of view, you don't want just 5 content creators out there having 5 million followers. You want everyone to get that that buzz of, oh, I've got a follower, I've got a new follower. So if you can get everyone up to, hey, that's 100, give everyone 10,000 followers, everyone feels fantastic, and they're going to keep using that app.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So what advice have you got to people with? I know you've got a TikTok account professionally for your business, but you don't use it. Are you intending to use it more now that you've got your feet wet with your passion of mountain bike riding?
So I did start a professional account at the same time. So this is 2 years ago. But so when I had that intern, I was putting out content, and I put that on TikTok, and it did not fly. No one really followed it because I was putting on LinkedIn style content on, and it was basically like this sort of conversation, discussion, and probably at the time a lot of the older our generation weren't on there as such.
Yep.
They're probably coming on more so now.
Yep.
But yeah, putting on LinkedIn style content, like a podcast or a webinar, just does not fly.
Doesn't work.
So it's got to be a lot more raw and probably responding to questions. So when you get a comment, it's very easy to respond to that comment via video. So if you did that every day, that would engage with your community.
Are you going to refresh that the professional account and go down that pathway, or not bother?
It is certainly on my list. So there's been a few things I want to tick off with my business first, and that was YouTube. But then yes, TikTok is next. But I guess what I'm dreading is having 1 follower, 5 followers, 10 followers, and I like the fun of having 200,000 followers, getting recognised in the street almost daily now that I get that, sometimes 3 times a day for my mountain biking side. But yeah, it feels hard to start with just 1 follower, but everyone starts with 1 follower or 0 followers.
So I want to pull a thread on this one, because the thread is I've always talked about for many, many years now, having a digital media mindset. And what part of that means is, you become the media channel, but you have fun on it. You explore new channels. I know everyone says, oh, we'll be on LinkedIn. Yes, you'll do the LinkedIn, do it well, do all that sort of stuff. But I always say, well, have a secondary one where you have a bit of fun and experiment, because that's where you learn. And, even if you don't make it, get a massive following, you're going to learn some techniques like you have with filming. And the upside too is you've also got a really good following on TikTok. But it enables you then. Do you think from doing TikTok and learning more about that? Yes, you might set up refresh the professional profile on TikTok. Has it helped you for other things like YouTube and LinkedIn and that side of things?
It certainly makes you more confident in front of camera and not have to, draft a script that might take you a few hours and then you want to try to get it on one take. It just enables you to go, okay, I've got 5 minutes now. There's a media article that's out there. I'll just go read that and just post that, or just provide a commentary. So, hey, there's something in the media. I've got my 2 cents to add on that. The other advice, which I give everyone else, but I haven't taken myself yet, is don't wait to have that perfect first video. Work out your niche after 100 videos. So put out 100 videos, then you can delete the first 100. And that's how I got popular on TikTok first time round. Is I just put 100 videos out of stuff that I liked. It might be a bit of humor. It might have been, I had a puppy. I was playing with puppy. Did a time lapse of putting out new lawn. I was doing some flips on the trampoline. Just random stuff. And then I go, you know what? I like doing the more mountain biking and showing my journey. And that's what people fell in love with. So the advice would be to everyone and to myself, just put out whatever you can, to vomit 100 videos. And then after that, you'll get to know what people like and what people don't like and what you like to deliver yourself.
Unfortunately, a lot of people who they've got this professional mindset and everything has to be beautifully done, and you've just shot that down in flames, which is exactly what I was hoping for, because that's the thing, is that there's times when to have something really schmick and times when not to, and you've got to pick the channels. But, we know the raw stuff kind of works across boundaries, and if you make mistakes, and that's why live streaming is so fantastic, because it's you will make mistakes. It's you can't get it perfect, and that's why it builds trust and people engage with it a lot more. In terms of, so now you're moved across more to YouTube. How are you finding that? That's more for business now.
Yep.
I think you've got some shorts on that. So shorts are on YouTube. YouTube shorts are kind of like the TikTok, their version of TikTok. Are you doing many of those?
Yeah, so I'm trying to produce under 1 minute videos.
Yep.
And what YouTube is doing is serving out these videos to a much larger, I guess, population than who your current subscribers are. So you can get much greater reach by just doing the shorts and putting that out. So yes, I'm doing a lot of 1 minute videos.
And 1 minute being probably the average on TikTok for you?
Yeah, so you can do up to 3 minutes.
Yep.
But as little as even 5 seconds. You can do a few 5-second videos on TikTok.
What do you find works the best from TikTok?
You've obviously got to grab someone in the first few seconds. So as long as you grab them and then share a journey. The best would actually be a comment. So people will pause at the start of the video, or not pause it, but they'll look and read, and that will help the engagement. Oh, there's a question that someone's asked. I want to know the answer to that. Now I'll go and watch the rest of that video.
Right.
So I find responding to comments works the best.
Right. And that you put that up in captions?
Well, it automatically does it. So it automatically puts up a little bubble, and you keep that little bubble there for as long as you want. Right. And then people go, oh, yeah, I want to understand about that. Let's listen to what they have to say. And
so shorts, how are you finding the difference between shorts and TikTok?
YouTube is giving it a lot of promotion. So from my personal mountain biking side of it, it is getting served a lot. So I'm actually posting things on YouTube first, and I might put some sort of teaser to it on TikTok. and they say, hey, if you want to see it, go to YouTube. Then that's going to help grow, my subscriber base on YouTube first, and people might start, gravitating towards there. So therefore, you haven't just got one platform you're relying on; you've got them all.
But you're using both platforms in the correct way, format wise, and all of that. And with I've seen your professional YouTube one where you're starting to do interviews and things like that in shorts. Is that kind of working?
So what I did, and this works quite well, is you go and find someone in your industry and interview them, and you ask them one question at a time, and they respond, and that response is generally under a minute, but if it's under 3 minutes, even better. But 1 minute is ideal that they answer that, and then you can chop that up, and then obviously for SEO purposes, people typing in that question, that answer or that question and answer will come up, and then you get found.
Yep. And they tend to be on the shorts when you're interviewing, they're going to be landscape. So you've got, shorts and TikTok are in portrait. And so, the length of your phone. So you've got a bit of real estate to play with in terms of graphics and stuff like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen how people have done that yet, and putting it vertically for two, like we're sideways, but if we put us both on top, I haven't seen actually people do that at the moment.
Yeah,
they might cut from one to the other, but there is a bit of mucking around with aspect ratio to get that perfect. But once again, just post everything. After 100, you'll work it out, or you'll start to go, how can I change the aspect ratio of that?
People are just falling. All the audience are falling over. 100 videos. What are you doing to me? But when you're talking about videos, it could be 10 seconds. It could be a minute.
I'm not sure how many. Have you seen how many TikToks I've done?
You've done a lot. It just keeps going, and I haven't counted. I can tell you
3,500.
Oh wow!
And that's in
tell me that
2 years.
In
2 years.
3,000.
3,500. That's actually now I think that's a lot, but it's that easy to do if you're raw and you get into this repetition of that's a TikTok. I'm just going to film that, and it's just something simple, and obviously because you're in more of a visual medium, for mountain biking, so you don't have to think about things, but you just film something. Here, just film my tire and put a nice audio over it, and that's going to fly. And that takes 5 seconds. So There's not that much effort involved, and it's really okay. You're sitting on the couch. I've filmed a whole lot of things. What's some little things I can just clip up, and for 5 minutes work, I've put out a TikTok, and then you get that instant feedback of, there's 1,000 people that have already viewed it, and you've got 20, 30 comments, and you just get that buzz of people commenting and liking.
So we're going to go into another couple of elements because there's a bit of a wide-ranging interview, this one. But so we'll just sort of tie a little bit of a bow around TikTok. So, really just get it out there early and then start worrying about, focusing in a bit more is probably the best way to get going. You can do it as your professional self, which means probably having questions and people's comments and really hot topics that are really short that you can just go straight to camera and go bang, bang, bang. And then you can improve on production as you go, but don't get it too slick. And then the other part of it is you're getting confidence all the time. Or you might want to, there might be a side passion that you want to get involved with, and you do it that way. And that's all part of your personal brand too, Ben. Having everyone's got a 360 degrees of your life now on social media. But the biggest thing is the experimentation. Yes, do your serious stuff on LinkedIn or whatever, but have an experiment of, it might be TikTok, it might be Twitter for some others, but you have a bit more of a fun one as well, where you get involved a bit and you learn from that, which you can then put across all your social channels. Now, we did then start talking about YouTube and the YouTube Shorts, which you've covered. You're now starting to grow your channel. But you've done a little bit with AI and blogs and video. Do you want to walk us through what's that scenario when it comes to YouTube?
Yeah, so a lot of the content that I follow on TikTok is around marketing and small business and finance. So I'm watching all that stuff, and that's where you learn a lot of stuff. So once again, it's about discovery. It's stuff I wouldn't have gone and searched for, but the algorithm knows that I like that sort of content. Yeah. So one of them was someone showed this website, and it was AI video production. And I'm going, okay, I'll try it out.
Experimentation.
Yep. So the website that they mentioned was called Lumen 5. Lumen, the
Yep.
number 5.
Yes.
And basically, all it is you just find a website or a web page. It might be a newspaper article. You grab that link, that URL, you drop it in there, and the software will spit out a video in about 30 seconds. And I've gone, let's give it a go. And I did it, and it has their watermark at the end. If you want just the free version, that's fine. So put that out, and I downloaded it, and then I uploaded it to YouTube, and then I just thought I'd see what would happen. And within an hour, that video was on the first page of Google results.
Wow.
I've gone, that took me no effort at all, and I didn't even edit any of the detail. Yeah, some of the wording was a little bit wrong, the titles are wrong, didn't care, just put it out there, and yeah, within an hour, it's on the first page of Google. And then what I went and did is then I grabbed that YouTube URL and then put that on my blog post, and then that obviously helps rank my original blog post higher again. So for very little effort, you're ranking on the first page of Google.
And so when you said your blog post, are you putting blog posts because you're curating other people's content as well, and you're doing it for your own blogs as well?
So what I do, I basically am a news service for government grants that's out there. So I'll just aggregate all these grants, and basically I just put in a very simple structure and put it out there, and then just serve it for SEO purposes, and then it goes out in a newsletter. But now I've been starting adding video in there, so it's very rich content that people want to see, and they get to see a 30-50 second video as well, and people just engage with that sort of content.
Some people would prefer to watch videos rather than read, and some people would rather listen than watch videos. So it's a matter of getting it out there for people. I do remember Lumen 5. I was on it reasonably early days. I was using it for my blog, and I'd put the blog posts in, and up. What happens is you do have images that pop up. You can change those images, and it will grab text. That's the AI part, isn't it? Grabbing the text and putting it in chunks, so the story is being told in video. It does sometimes. It's probably improved a lot since I've used it, but it's you can change things around as well.
So what I've done now, so I've stepped that further, and now I just went to Canva, and I've said, okay, well, I put out basically the same content for all my grants. So let's just go and choose 10 slides, and then let's just go and summarize the same sort of information into those 10 slides, and they're like 5 seconds each, and there's a standard audio, and I just push that out. So I've got my assistant in the Philippines that says, okay, go make a video out of that, and that might take them an hour to do. It would probably take me around 15, maybe even 10 minutes to do if I did it myself, and then upload to YouTube, drag all the content from the blog post, put that in the description of the YouTube video, so it's very rich content, and then put the URL of that YouTube back into the blog post, and off you go.
Wow, there's just some amazing tools there, but what you're doing is you're cross-pollinating everywhere, and Google, YouTube being part of Google, and as you said, you put the YouTube video up and it appears on the front page of Google. So I love the fact that you're becoming a go-to informational resource for government grants in Australia, and so by being the curator, but then creating original content around that curation, that's unusual. A lot of people will get the articles and share the articles, but you're finding the articles, and obviously you can walk us through how, if you've got any content curation tips, and then putting them out in videos. I think that's really cool. I haven't heard of anyone doing that before.
So the simplest thing that I do is set up a Google alert for your keyword or your niche. You get an email to say, hey, there's a new article about that. Then you go and grab that, and then most people just either just share that in their LinkedIn. What I do is I get my assistant to go and just drag out one key phrase that mentions that particular niche, and I do a little image with either my photo, because I have like 100 photos of me, or a little Bitmoji of me, put that caption in there, and then link it to the article. Or what I actually then do, that take it a step further, is to get that news article, put that updated on my blog to say, here, there's updated news about this niche. For me, it's R&D tax incentive.
Yep.
And then that's now news. And then when you go to LinkedIn, that little image then leads to my blog post, which then leads to the article. So
right. So you're doing it on LinkedIn, the same thing you're doing it on LinkedIn as well.
Correct. And then so also those YouTube videos that I make, those 1 minute YouTube videos, which is obviously on Canva, I will post that raw onto LinkedIn, and then that LinkedIn link at the bottom will then go into my blog post.
Right. So it's either a video or it's a still.
Correct. And then often I'll do both. So you get two, because not everyone's, once your news has been served on one day, it's very rare it's going to come back
Correct.
again. So you're getting two different types of content you're putting out there.
And so you're finding what's the regularity of that?
I'm doing probably 3 LinkedIn posts a day.
Okay, that's quite a lot.
It seems like a lot, but when you're only grabbing, a newspaper headline and just modifying it slightly, it could be done, within an hour, or someone else doing it. So an assistant overseas takes an hour and just they can make 3, pieces of content on LinkedIn per day for not much effort.
And so those videos, as you're saying, you turn them into a blog as well. You put them on a blog onto your blog, and that's what you're linking back to get it back traffic back to your website. Yeah.
So a lot of what my content is SEO optimized. So I aim to be the number one on every sort of long tail search term for R&D tax incentive.
So how is all that going? How your YouTube channel, is it helping to build that? Your LinkedIn following, you're nearly at 10,000 followers, so that's a good solid following on LinkedIn in terms of, I guess, reach and impressions and views and stuff. What's the general trend there with this, what you're doing?
So what you'll notice is that no one comments. You think no one sees it. So be prepared to have, why am I wasting my time? But then 6 months later, it's just like driving past a billboard every day of an iPhone. You're not ready to buy an iPhone. You don't care about an iPhone. But when you want to buy a phone, you go, you know what? I like that iPhone. So what I find is that I'll get a phone call from someone that says, a contact of yours has referred me. I've gone, I've never worked with that person, even though we're connected on LinkedIn. I've never emailed, never spoken to them, but they know I'm the person for government grants.
Yeah, I like it. But
there's no real metric on LinkedIn that shows you that.
No.
But it's through like a long tail of, that person knows me.
I love hearing stories like that. That's happened to myself. It happens to a lot of people I know and other clients that I've dealt with. It's, they're the lurkers out there, and they are there and they're watching, and you're going for strategic visibility is what I'd call that, is, that respectful reminders. You're just adding value all the time, little respectful reminders that, hey, I'm here. This is my business. This is what I do. And, as you're saying, you're curating news for people who might be interested in it. And this is one thing that, and I fight with the growth hackers and the funnel junkies and the, often the SEO people. It's not, everyone's not going to be a customer. In fact, most of your audience are not going to be customers, but there are people who like what you do and they take notice of you and they follow you for who you are and what you stand for. And they can be great referrers. To treat everyone and to expect everyone to be a potential client or a customer is just small-minded thinking, because there are people out there who recommend, and I see people recommend people on Twitter all the time, even though they've never met them, but they know them on social, they follow them.
That's right. I'm happy that people scroll past my content, they don't watch it, they don't read it, but all they want to know is they know that I'm the expert.
Yeah.
So if they see me enough, they go, well, he's the expert. I see him all the time.
So it's the power of repetition.
Correct.
Excellent. So we're ticking off. So you got blog, you got LinkedIn, you're using Lumen 5, you got Canva for consistency of visuals, you're using Google Alerts to bring the content in. And then if I said to you now, okay, what you've got, say, over a period of a week, how many, you reckon it's about 3 a day, like 15 posts, 10 to 15 a week you're doing?
Yeah, that's just on LinkedIn, yes.
On LinkedIn. Okay, well, let's just focus on LinkedIn in that regard. How much time, and I think I know the answer. How much time do you actually physically do on that?
Advising my assistant and reviewing their work. And actually, in fact, I was going to say to them today, they came to me and said, have you reviewed this work? And I'm like, I haven't reviewed it. Just do it. Just flick it out. But I modified 2 dot points. Big deal. No one's going to care.
Yeah.
No one's if they're going to watch it, they'll just go, "Yep, that's a video about that. I know the other person to call." So, it's not much at all. Not worth even. I've told them, my client or my assistant today, set up Google alerts for another key phrase, so they know that I can go away for a week and there'll still be another 15 pieces of content per week. So,
and the content that's coming to you, that's very specific. I mean, are you vetting that, or is it's so niche that it's always from the right sources?
It doesn't really matter. No one cares. No one, even if it's wrong, it doesn't really matter. So just put it out there. If someone says this is wrong, okay, I'll change it. But
yeah,
you're your worst, critical person about your own work.
Yeah.
No one else cares.
And because you're in a niche too, and you're getting your keywords done, and the information's coming to you, that there's always going to be that degree of relevance, which is the main thing, that you're relevant.
And that's right. So, for you, it could be, just say, I want to do a podcast or a marketing podcast or whatever is the niche about, podcast. And then say, oh, someone's mentioned this. I'll just provide a commentary around that, or just share. Or one of the best things I found on TikTok to help myself grow was go and comment on everyone else's video that you see. Most people just scroll and look on, but then you're known. And then your video will be served to that person that you have commented on.
Yep. Yeah, perfect. And I remember something early days of Twitter where you could have I can't even remember what the app was, but if there were people that you followed all the time and you were very confident in their content, and we've all got, bloggers who are, we'd read everything that they put out, that there'd be an automated RSS feed to Twitter via this app that if this person, I used to do it with Seth Godin because I read everything he did. I found myself, I was sharing virtually everything anyway. So you put this automation thing in, and every time he put up his blog post and published it, or automatically went to Twitter from my account. So that's quite an interesting, it's a similar sort of a thing, isn't it? That it's trusted sources, but it's the information that you're trying to get out there, and it's how we can use these tools smarter. But you've clearly got a strategy about visibility, repetition, and becoming known. And then there's all the dotted lines back to Google for the SEO purposes. So, gosh, there's a fair bit to take in there. So, how did you? How long have you had a VA? What was that process like? Because I talk to people all the time that, as you get bigger and you start becoming a little bit more sophisticated in your content and social, you might need some help. It's a cost-effective way. It takes your time, gives you more time back. Did you have any missteps? Has it been a slow journey? Is it all about the onboarding and the briefing?
Yes, I've been doing this for probably around 10 years. And it was just a ad hoc. Just whenever I would find a grant, I'd say, go to them and then just follow this structure. So then you have to train them. And it wasn't until last year that I said, I want you full time. I don't want you, I want something done straight away. I can tell you to do it straight away. Don't disappear for 2 days and then do it. Just bite the bullet. And, the cost to me, and then, well, they're not perfectly full time, they're like maybe part time. I'm paying them $8 US an hour. So it's like you could work for a week and do not much and not cost me much at all. So just get out there and just put the content out there.
Yep. So it's we're seeing more whether it's they're in the Philippines or whether they're in Australia or whatever. It's really it's a thing, it's a trend, and a lot of people are doing it. And particularly when you're building your personal brand and you are the business, you can't do everything, and to have that assistance certainly makes a big difference. So, what's your advice then, Ben, for anyone who's maybe they're on LinkedIn, they're doing some stuff, they want to build their brand, they just want to do stuff, but they're just overly cautious and overthinking it?
I think you know the answer, and that's just to get out there and just do. I don't care if stuff is wrong. Just put it out there. So one, just create your LinkedIn profile. Just Google how to have a good LinkedIn profile. So one, it's a good photo, but make sure you put in content out all the time, and it might not be your content.
Yeah.
So just go and get a Google alert, and then just share the newspaper article, and that is it.
Yeah.
The bare minimum gets it out there.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with content curation. I mean, it is an art, and but it is a good way to get going. I've always thought that commenting on other people's stuff is a really good way to get involved. and then sharing other people's stuff is another good way to get involved, and that builds you up the confidence to then start putting your own stuff online. And pick Instagram, pick TikTok, have a bit of fun, go out and whatever your hobbies are, go out and have a bit of fun with it if you don't want to do it for your business.
And I think even for TikTok, probably easier for TikTok, rather than actually creating content, is just to go and follow 5 people in your niche, and that is an easiest. And then just go and comment on their content, watch what they're doing. Try not to go and follow a bit of dancing here, horse riding here, golf here, home renovation here. Just follow your marketing or whatever is your niche, and you'll get to see their content and what they're doing, and ask them questions. And then what you can also do is, if someone's asked a question on or a comment on one of their videos, you can reply to that comment on your own feed.
Fantastic.
So, I know the answer to that. I'll just do a quick response to that.
Where to now for TikTok, do you think? Where are you seeing it? Have you been doing it for 2 years? What changes have you seen? What trends have you been seeing?
So they stop serving my content because I'm already, probably a big account compared to, I guess, what they think is probably. So if you're over 10,000 followers, you're probably a good size. You're over 100,000 followers, you're probably very big. So they just stop serving your content unless. So in the past, it was all about volume. So I just put out junk. Everything I thought was a crap video would fly. All my beautiful polished edits. No one cared. But you show the rawness, and what you think is junk flies off. And I'm going, okay, what's the point? Just put everything out there. So, 1 in 100 will be viral. So just put it all out there. Just vomit out videos and it'll be fine. So now I'm now down to probably 1 video a day. Sometimes, a couple every 2 or 3 days. Well, 1, because I don't have the content. If I've got the content, I'll just push it out there. So it's a bit harder to be found. Certainly as a bigger account. So you've really got to start to be good, which is a bit harder now.
That's interesting though. The bigger you are, the less you're being served up. It's did you find that really drove did you have spikes when you went viral?
Oh yeah, you'd be getting 1,000 followers a minute. I think I did something like that.
Wow.
And it probably like. Maybe not that much, but it was like 10,000 new followers every day or so. So within a week, I had like 20,000 new followers, and it's just like
it's crazy.
And the comments are just flying, and you just see the views just go, bzzz, and you just can't keep up with the comments.
Yeah.
And then because I was responding so quickly to all the comments, I tried to keep up with it. TikTok said you're responding too quickly. They think you're a bot. They think you're a bot. So no more replying to comments to you.
That's bizarre. And everything's off your phone.
Everything's off the phone. I bought a proper little audio plug-in to have a better microphone. No, didn't bother. You learn where's good lighting, so you learn to face the light as opposed to being dark. Yeah. But apart from that, that's all I'm doing.
Again, learn by doing. You can study all you like. It's like swimming, isn't it? You can study swimming all you like. And I've said this about Twitter. I've always said Twitter's like the real coal face of social media, but so is TikTok now. So it's if not more so. So it is that you're only going to learn by being in there and doing it. You can study it all you like, but you just got to do it. And as you said, you've done that. So Ben, this has been terrific. It's a bit more of an unusual discussion because we start on TikTok and we're going on to LinkedIn and YouTube and to productivity and the use of VAs and how they all join up. But the thing is, out of all of these things we talked about, they all join up. So it's fantastic. And the number one message is experiment. That's how you grew to 190,000+ followers and 10.5 million likes on TikTok, is you had a crack and you have now got the confidence to do all sorts of things. And that's exactly the key, and to experiment. So I think this is the experimentation episode. So we'll run with that. How do people find you on TikTok and wherever else you need them to find you?
So we haven't even mentioned my TikTok is, if people want to find me. So it's Benny McBenface on TikTok, but for business, I am there. Bullet point, or you type in any government grant, I will be found.
That's the test. Government Grants Australia, and see if you pop
Government grant
up.
consultant specialist, R&D tax consultant. Yeah, I'm there, so you'll find me.
Terrific. All righty. Thank you very much, Ben.
Thanks a lot.
The reputation economy is here. The world today needs more genuine, credible experts and leaders to stand up and share their experience, their wisdom, their stories and ideas. Are you in?